What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam from Podcasting Business School, the show where I teach podcasters how to love their podcast like a hobby and build it like a business. We are doing a very special podcast audit with Doc Heath from the TherapyBites podcast. We got Doc Heath in the house. How's it going, sir?
It's going good. We are actually in the ART lab, which stands for Accurate, Realistic Thoughts, Life Affirming Beliefs. And that is where we study all things about how to think in ways that are healthy and not sabotaging and move your life forward. So we're glad to be here, man. We've been excited about this. There's a team of 4 of us, but we're using my MacBook because of some technological difficulties. And, you go with the flow. You make it work.
Yep, we roll with it in the world of podcasting. That is for sure. So I want to get an idea of your podcasting goals. So let's say I say something brilliant, you implement it, and things are going really, really well. And 6 months from now, like, what does that picture look like? If you had some really serious momentum, what does that next 6 month stretch look like if you're nailing all your goals?
I think in 6 months, we would have tripled our downloads, and we would have, doubled, 100%, 75% increased our engagement by, just people communicating with us. We like to hear from people, what value are you finding? What things really stick out to you? What really is making a difference in your life? And we're good with all that either way. What is less helpful is audience silence. Zero information is zero helpful. Even if it's a critique, that's helpful. But radio silence, as they say, is not helpful. We just love engagement and feedback.
Yeah. So one thought that always helps out with audience engagement, because engagement will lead to superfan building, and superfan building leads to more downloads. Because I always say, like, one superfan is worth 10 average Joe or average Jane listeners, because the superfans go out and tell other people to listen to your show. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, I just heard this episode. Doc Heath said X, Y, and Z. You got to go check it out. And it spreads like wildfire. So they're our best little marketing team that we could have out there. So the challenge I put out there to podcasters when it comes to engagement is we have to look at, are we effectively initiating engagement? Are we giving our community little pockets to be a community? Because a lot of people put calls to action out there, like, send me an email if you got questions, or let me know what your favorite episode is. And it's not super effective, because in the podcast listenership space, they're multitasking. They're mowing the yard. They're driving their kid to school. They're eating dinner or whatever. They're doing other things while they listen to our content. So if we have a call to action that is more along the lines of, hey, show up to our monthly blah, blah, blah party where we get together and record some audio together as a community, or submit your question on this very specific topic. If you are dealing with this pain point, this thing, I'm going to pick 3 questions to answer. Submit your audio at this link, being really, really specific. And even, like, I've known when I'm feeling a little bit crickety out there, if I'm like, man, I haven't really heard from anybody in a while, I'll dive into my Instagram and I'll just start going through who's followed me recently. And I will drop a voice message. Even if you just do this from the last 10 people that followed you on Instagram, and thank them for following you on Instagram. So, but the basic thing, I hit the little record button and go, hey, what's up? It's Adam from Podcasting Business School. I saw you just followed my account here. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. Here's the type of content that I put out. If you're into podcast monetization, podcast audience engagement, podcast growth, I have lots of content on that. I would love for you to check out my latest episode. I'll send it a separate message with the link. Let me know if you have any questions in the podcasting space. I'm a real person. I hope you're having a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you soon. Boom, done. And I'll do 10 of those, and you will get just wildfire engagement back. And then all of a sudden, these people are chattering away on all your posts because you started it. You kicked it off. And now they're like, oh, Doc Heath sent me a message, and it was him, and it was his voice. It wasn't his robot assistant, and it wasn't his VA from Venezuela or whatever. It's like, it's him. That is really cool. And that sparks that engagement. So things like little online challenge groups, monthly meetups to record sessions on your show. Like I do a monthly Pod Pal Zoom party where I invite my audience. I'll have 20 or 25 podcasters come on the show once a month. We have a topic. I teach a little bit. Then we have roundtable discussion. Like you could do this in your space pretty easily, and have people come
Wow.
on to really just add insight. They have experience on this one therapy topic or this one thing that's worked for them, or they're going through it currently or whatever, and making them a part of the conversation, making your audience a part of your show always wins. I mean, it's always a good idea. So any ideas percolating off anything I said there?
Well, yeah, man, because I think that I don't think I know that you're bringing value already. We talk in the art lab about different levels of cognition. There's things I think, there's things I believe, there's things I know that are very, very in depth. And I know you're bringing value because it sounds kind of crazy to say this, but we had a guest on the show that pointed out social media, the intent is to be social. Thought, wow, the intent is to be social. And I think that many people forget that and they really become politicians of their message instead of social. And they're out stumping. They're just standing on a stump preaching their message and they're not engaging back. And I think you're right. I think that's something we could do a better job at is reaching out. We do a weekly community breakfast every Saturday. We invite a team of people. I mean, everybody's invited. All you got, it's 1-870-686-4196. And it's our community number and anybody can sign up. It's free. And we have some pretty good engagement there. We do a weekly support group on Clubhouse every Wednesday.
Nice.
We're about to start live streaming that once we figure out the technomology. By the way, that comes from Hulk and the Agents of Smash. It's a cartoon, and Scar Hulk will talk about technomology. We have a lot of technomological difficulties here, but we'll figure them out. But engagement, because it really should be. Conversation is two-way. That's one of the great things I like about doing stuff like this is you're sitting here and I'm with a cup of coffee in my hand and we're just having a chat, exchanging ideas. And that's what humans are meant to do. But we get off of that and we just start trying to push a message out there without engagement. And that's not social,
Yeah. Now,
that's not social. But thank you. You're bringing all kinds of value for us. My team here, Debbie, Heather, Sarah, we're all licensed clinicians. They're taking notes like crazy.
Good. Well, let's keep them busy here. So I've got another idea, because you mentioned the Clubhouse, the Saturday meetup. I love it. So once you get active people, like this is what I'm at my best. Like when people come and do even like what we're doing, I'm like, okay, I've got an active participant I can pour into his cup. Boom, let's go. But you make that connection, and then I will always follow up. Like spoiler alert, I'm going to send you an email and I'm going to ask you to do something for me once we're done. And what I'm going to do is I'll ask you for a little audio clip, either an episode recommendation if you've got an episode of my show that you like, or just your experience doing a podcast audit or whatever. And I'm going to air that on an episode. So You get these people on Clubhouse, you get these people and on your Sunday meetups or your Saturday meetups. I would talk to them and go, hey, who here listens to this show? And some of them probably listen to the show. I'm looking for 60-second audio clips I want you to do a episode recommendation. What is your favorite episode and why? And you send them a little script. Like you make it as simple as possible. All right. And the way this works is now you've got that active audience. You ask them to do something. You've added value, just simple ask, give them the link right there on Clubhouse, put it at the top of the page or whatever. And the app that I use for this is free. It's called Speak Pipe.
Yes, I've heard that.
So it's free. I mean, there's a paid version, but you don't need to get the paid version.
Mm-hmm.
And you set up your little link, give them a little script. So when I do this for Podcasting Business School, I'll say, here's the script. Hello, my name is XYZ from the XYZ podcast. My favorite episode of Podcasting Business School is episode XYZ because XYZ. And they record that. It's 60 seconds or less. I put that at the end of an episode. And so I like doing that at the end of an episode because that's the most skipped part of every podcast. So I want to make mine different. I want to make mine the podcast that you listen to all the way through to the end just to see what happens. So at the end of a show, sometimes I'll end it and go, and here's an episode recommendation from a podcast super fan just like you. And all of a sudden, here's Debbie from Idaho saying that she loves episode 340 for whatever reason. And that shows up so much differently for a new listener. Imagine somebody brand new listening to your show. It's like what you just said about social media. You could go on at the end and go, and here's another episode you should listen to, but that's like stumping. Like you said, that's marketing. If they hear someone else, it's social proof. It's like leveling you up as an expert. Wow, someone from Idaho listens. That's crazy. I live in Indiana or whatever. And then that's a recommendation from somebody that they automatically relate to. And they go, okay, I just listened to this episode. I got to listen to that one next because Debbie from Idaho recommended that. And that made a difference for her. So now we got another episode in their download. And if we can get them listening to multiple episodes, now we start a binging habit. And we get into their podcast listening routine.
Yeah.
So I would be all over that. If you already have people showing up to these things on Clubhouse and with your meetup.
Wonderful recommendation. I honestly, I don't make stuff up. If I don't mean it, I don't say it. But that really is genius. I love that. We will definitely do that.
Good. And you can stick it at the beginning. You can put it at the end. You can put it in the middle, whatever. It'll work. You can do multiple in one if you get a whole bunch of them. But I like just kind of getting in that routine. And then they're listening and go, hey, listen to the end because it's going to show up in an upcoming episode. Now they're listening to those to hear their thing.
We do a psychomalarkey scale analysis. I made that up, but we do it. And it's by our friendly art lab shrinkstigator, portmanteau shrink, investigator, shrinkstigator, Dr. Ima Freudnot. And every guest that we have, we try to keep people around to the end of it by advertising that at the front of the episode. Stick around to the end for the psychomalarkey scale analysis of our guest today. And then we just kind of make psychology fun. Yeah. And we actually have a friend of mine that puts on his best Austrian accent.
Oh my gosh.
Like Sigmund Freud. And he does an analysis of, well, maybe we'll do one of Adam. We'll do an Adam Stahl.
Oh, that's scary.
Shrinkstigator analysis. Yeah.
That's scary. Nobody wants to dive into this bald head. So I mean, I think anything.
Cortical crevices.
Oh man.
We're gonna noodle his noodle.
So I mean, I think anything like that can just be different. I love pattern disrupts. So I mean, and this is like where you can kind of use your psychological powers too. It's like, okay, pattern disrupts. Like I will even in the intros and outros, I like mixing it up to where for a certain block of time, my intro might have music. Then I'll take it away. No music. Yeah. I'll start with a different word. My most listened to episodes all the way through to the end. I'll have an outro that goes, "Hey, good looking," and then I say what I want to say, and people will listen to it because I say, "Hey, good looking" at the very big, right? I finish the episode, and it's like, "Hey, good looking," or it's like, "Pump your brakes, good looking," and then it goes into whatever I've got to say. So little.
Hey, how about this? We do a thing called the T-ball triple play. It takes just a couple seconds. I'll just do one question with you, and we'll use this when we work out your PMS and PMS psychomalarkey scale PMS, right? Psychomalarkey scale analysis, your PMS analysis, and but the one question is if you I'll ask a couple just real quick. If you had to play one baseball position for eternity, we do this at the middle of every episode these days. At the middle of every episode with our guest, if you had to play one baseball position for eternity, which position would it be?
Right field, because I hate baseball.
Right field. Why would you pick right field?
I hate baseball, and I wouldn't want to be involved.
You could take a nap. Well, no one's ever said that to me. Wow, Dr. Freud and I have a blast with that one. Here's another one I ask. Let's see what you say about if you had to, if you were held hostage by the umpire, you and all the other patrons at the game, and you're given a choice to save your life, you could chew the pitcher's used bubble gum, or you could streak around the bases naked. Which one would you pick? You got to pick one.
I'd streak naked, easy.
You streak naked, man. Adam will let it all hang out. And then my final one for this, we try to change him up. Which piece of baseball equipment would you most prefer your proctologist not to use at your next exam? Which one would you choose him not to use? Don't use this one.
That metal bat.
You know, that's the most popular one. That kind of speaks to some being normal. We would suspect some psychosis if you said, you know, I don't want him to use anything but the bat, because that's the obvious choice. And we will we'll do an analysis of Adam,
Nice.
because these things are very telling about what's going on inside the vault of Adam's skull. It sounds like a pretty scary place up there.
So that's a great example of just getting people engaged and being different and going, hey, you got to stay to the end to listen to this. Like it's really good. No, I'm serious. Like that's really, that is a
we have another called farm animal forkball. One of those is which farm animal would you least like to be in a relationship with?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know that.
You just don't even know.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's hilarious. So I think you're doing the right stuff as far as engagement goes. I think the little audio clips could really add some spice to this, where you're getting people going, like when they listen to your show and then they hear their own audio on your show, it's just impactful.
It is.
We can all imagine. Yeah, we can imagine our favorite podcasts. If we get to be a part of those, like that'd be special for us. So that's something I would definitely recommend. One other real quick thing I wanted to drop on you, looking at your show description. So like wherever you guys host it, like the basic description of the podcast, not each individual episode, but just the podcast itself.
Not the show notes.
Correct. Just like there's the name of the show, and then underneath that, the description of the show. You've got an initial paragraph there. I would love to see you look at, this is very important for search engine optimization. So getting keywords in that area. So any keywords that you want to show up for that your ideal listeners might be searching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So certain types of therapy,
certain relationships, stuff like that.
Yes, any sort of issues, pain points that you solve, those need to be just jammed in there. And it's going to help. I've had people do that and they double or triple their downloads within a matter of weeks.
Really?
Yes. Wow. Because it's organic and it's easy, and we might as well have the easy stuff. You know,
we try to talk about serious stuff in a whimsical, funny, entertaining way.
I can tell.
In undergrad, I told my English professor that all these psychological articles, the journal are boring. And he would say, but when you're doing it, it doesn't have to be. So we're trying to make psychology and psychotherapy fun, so people can find more value in it.
I love it. So as we kind of bring things home here, I want to make sure people can dive into your world. So if they are like all about this, the hilarity that you've brought to the podcast on, and they're like, I got to get some more of what this guy's cooking, where do they go?
Well, we like most drug dealers, we cook it in the kitchen sink. No, we cook it up here in the Art Lab. It's the Art Lab, and you can go to Apple Podcast, or you can go to Spotify, anywhere. Just search TherapyBites. You can also join our community. It's free. All you got to do is text 1-870-686-4196. 870-686-4196. You sign up. If you get tired of us, you can, unsign up, but why would you do that? And we send all our notices out there, including how to connect with the community breakfast every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Time. And we have a free audio-based support group through Clubhouse every Wednesday at noon. And you can, Google us, look us up on Clubhouse, download the app. It's not our app, it's Clubhouse app. And our newsletter, we tell how to, connect with our newsletter. All that's in the show notes. Go to any show notes, and there's links for all that. On Instagram, it's doc.heath. And everywhere else, it's TherapyBites. But we'd love to have you guys. Give us some feedback. We want to serve you. That's what we're here to do. This is is not a business for us. This is a mission. And we're
Love
on a
it.
mission to help change people's lives by showing them how to think in different ways that serve you better. There's just so many sabotaging ways of thinking, and social media can make that worse. And we're here to make a difference and make it better.
Well put. Well put. All right, pod pals. So if you want to be just like Doc Heath here and do a podcast audit, come on the show, get a little Adam time, a little coaching time. You can get signed up at podcastingbusiness.school for your very own podcast audit. Make sure you check out Doc Heath. Everything he's got out there sounds pretty darn interesting. Let's go check it out and support his show. And with that, I'm going to send you all out into the world, wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.